I've made a ton of videos as a graphic designer about AI and how AI has affected the design community. I've talked about how it was implemented in Adobe apps, how it's implemented across the board through Discord, and some of the crazy things it can do. But I've not actually given my honest thoughts at all, really, about AI. And that's not because I've not been honest with you, it's because I haven't really had a video go out of me explaining where I'm at with AI in design. How is it affecting the industry? And I haven't really explained my humble opinions about how this technology will affect designers and creatives. Now, I'm not a solicitor, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to go into the laws and things around it. But I do want to give you my thoughts, because I think it's important as a creative community when a technology comes, whether it's AI, whether it was the letterpress, or whether it was a computer that came, where it has the ability to replace certain people, it's important to kind of be honest and to talk about it. So in this video, I'm going to ramble off my thoughts as a graphic designer who specializes in brand identity. We own a design agency in the north of England where we work with large clients and small. I'm going to rattle off what my thoughts are about AI and the effects it will have on the creative industry. The first time I heard of AI in design wasn't generative. It was about the software we use, and AI has been used loads. From selections to masking, quick selection, background selections, removing everything in the background. That uses AI to make our lives easier as graphic designers to select a part of an image, to color in an image, essentially just getting rid of the tediousness of doing small things like that. Even image trace uses AI, and that has been invaluable to a lot of creatives over the years, and no one really had an issue with this type of machine learning or AI. But recently, something new has happened, and this is called generative AI. And if you don't know, generative AI essentially takes a bunch of images from a data set or a bunch of words in a large language model or whatever. It just takes a bunch of data and it uses that to generate, when you ask it to, a new image based on those others. I've probably not explained that very well, but essentially there is a data set, which is a lot of images that exist. When you ask AI to create an image, it will use that data set. The reason why the creative community is kind of divided about AI is because of that data set. And not only that, artists are annoyed, and rightfully so, because artists' work are being used in those data sets, not specifically with their permission. They have not been asked permission, they've just taken it. As far as I'm aware, I could be wrong. When generative AI became a thing, it was through Midjourney and DALL-E, and then soon after, Adobe came out with Adobe Firefly, and all of these things were just incredible. They were a novelty at the time. You could ask it to create something, and it would. And a year and a half later, the novelties started to wear off slightly now. And obviously, I haven't made lots of videos about AI. That's not because it's not interesting. My channel is basically showing you interesting things that happen. But I think it's because we all know when something's been made by AI. If you check back through my other videos, you'll see big long comment threads, and I try to respond to as many comments as possible when it's constructive. And you'll notice that there's a big divide of AI bad or AI good or AI okay. But generally speaking, it's AI bad and AI good. Depending on which camp you're in, you'll probably leave a comment if you have a strong opinion about it. Yes, AI has the ability to replace jobs. Do I know how? No. Do I know what will happen when it will replace a lot more jobs, whether it's call center jobs, whether it is design jobs, artistic jobs? I don't know what's going to happen. Do I think it will fully replace people? No. Do I think it makes life easier? Yes, in some ways. But something that I want to explain a bit more is the use of AI. AI is getting better, but I had comments last year saying that this time next year, which is now, I won't have a job. We do have a job that's doing better, and I believe there's more designers now than there were last year. Could be wrong, but I read that statement online from someone saying that the design industry is doing pretty well. Now, AI for me is supposed to be a tool that helps, whether that's a selection, whether that is to remove a background, or even to generate more in a photograph, like outpainting it's called. Or if I want to remove something from a photograph without having to use loads of digital tools, that is perfect as well. It makes things quick and easy. However, to generate an image, to me, just kind of feels a bit weird. It doesn't feel good, because we as designers and creatives, we like to actually be the arbiter of what we're creating. Whether it's a logo, whether it's a poster, whatever, we like to be the arbiter of what is the end product. Now, there's a big debate about AI because, generally speaking, humans take images and influences and inspiration and experiences and they put it into their art. Now, I don't class myself as an artist, I'm a designer, and I do the same thing. I look at other people's work and I think that's incredible, that's inspired me, and that is influencing my decisions when I'm designing. There's this famous quote that nothing is original, everything is remix. And by that, it is that nothing truly is original. All we're doing is remixing it. We're changing the way that it looks and adding other ideas. I like to call it mashing up. Everything is just a mashup that is intentional. Now, AI kind of does this as well, but the problem we have is the model that it's being used from. So if artists' work have been modeled and people are using that, then I don't agree with that. I think that's wrong, because although the artists are being inspired by other artists and other artworks and maybe their location, their environment, what they're creating is something that they have created. Maybe they've used like digital tools to do that. But there is this kind of line of where we don't think that generating an entire artwork through a prompt is very good. Not only because it's kind of obvious when you do so, but it also takes away some of the passion that we have for art and the way that we love it, the way that we create it. A lot of the time, art isn't about the end result. It is the process of doing it. It is the process and the hard decisions that we make when we create something. Now, the same is for graphic design. Although there are a set of rules in design that we break continually, depending on what we're doing, we still have those decisions to make. And I feel sometimes that when companies are pushing AI, it isn't for the professionals, it is for the new people. The issues that I have with AI really stem from what the intentions of companies are. Now, I love companies that do AI, not because of the AI, but because of the other services they are involved in. For instance, Adobe. I've used Adobe for so many years. I love it. It's an amazing suite of programs that I use. And I don't know where I'd be without Adobe. They just make life easier. However, AI in there, it just seems to be the only thing that is coming out at the moment. Is that wrong? I don't think so for the average user, but for the professionals, what are they getting? I hope you understand what I'm saying. Okay, so I'm basically saying AI seems to be promoted heavily because of the new user base. It allows people, it makes design more accessible than it does for any other generation. Now you can just prompt illustrations in if you want. You don't have to go and learn it. You just go and prompt it. And although that can give a bit of a sting to someone who has learned how to illustrate, I think that is a good thing in a way. But where does that artwork come from? That is the question. So for me, AI seems to be something that we could use for beginners who maybe don't know how to draw something, or someone who wants to be inspired. But what I really don't like is this idea of AI being the final product. When I say AI is a tool, I'm talking about me. If I use AI, which I don't, by the way, a lot of people on the platform in the comments seem to think that I'm an AI bro because I make videos. It's the only thing we have used AI in is in some YouTube thumbnails to make it easier to create illustrations, and they were surprisingly effective, but everyone knew that they were created by AI. So AI works for beginners. What I would like to see is more tools for professionals. Professional creatives and artists don't want generative tools. What they want are tools to make their mundane jobs doing it easier. Such as, if we go back to this background selection in Photoshop, brilliant, life-changing tool, makes everything so much quicker and easier. We can get to the meat of the problem. But generating an entire image, I mean, there is some use cases. which could be easier. However, you know it's AI most of the time. Now, when it comes to illustrations, Adobe put in AI for Illustrator, and that was interesting. We have text to vector now, which I was most interested in. Probably the most professional AI tool we have in Illustrator is Generative Recolor, which I really like. That is where you can select all your artwork and put a prompt in for some color palettes, and it will give you them. It's just brilliant, an amazing idea. It takes that mundane idea or that mundane task of finding color palettes, makes it easier. We pick and choose now, depending on what we think. But when it comes to text to vector, who is that for? I'm trying to work out, because most illustrators enjoy creating their illustrations. And this is no shade to Adobe, by the way, this is just my thoughts. But most illustrators like creating what they're creating. But beginners might not be able to create that yet. And in putting AI in, I feel not the sting for a logo designer, but I feel kind of perplexed. Is it why? Why aren't we spending more time on creating tools that make it easier for the professional? So throughout the past year, I've not really been AI bad or AI good. I've been kind of like AI meh, as in I don't mind. I'm just looking to see what makes my life easier. And there have been a few tools, in fact, that AI has made life easier for me. ChatGPT, an amazing tool. It lies, obviously, because it's AI, it's not real. It's just giving me information, but it's kind of like a Google search 2.0. You can ask it anything about fly fishing and it will tell you what you should use, and it normally is quite accurate. You can learn anything super fast. So I get the value from that. However, from a creative standpoint, when it comes to like illustrations or when it comes to even branding and logo design, I haven't seen many tools being made that help us with that. And I'm perplexed as to why, because professionals want tools to help make their lives easier. So if you're still following what I'm saying, then kudos to you. I told you it would be a bit of a ramble, but my general thoughts and opinions on AI haven't really changed. I'm just watching to see what happens. I don't mind if AI becomes more of a thing. However, I would like to see it mature into a tool set, not just a generative button that we push to generate images. I'd like it to be a way that we could test our designs, or a way that we could create multiple versions of a layout, making our layouts or posters responsive using generative AI or some sort of AI. I'm not a programmer, so I don't know. Either way, I think as designers, we're at a time now where companies are creating more products, more softwares to make our lives easier. And for me, AI just really doesn't help, because we don't use it, because we have client work that requires us not to, and we love actually creating things from us. And prompting AI to create for us takes all the joy out of creating a logo, a poster, an illustration, because that's why we do it. We do it because we enjoy what we create. So I don't know what the moral of this is. I just thought I'd give you my sort of unfiltered thoughts on AI and how it's affecting the industry. Hopefully you got something out of it. If you did, subscribe. See you soon.